Have you ever felt like your life was falling apart? Like everything was against you? No matter how hard you tried to do the right thing? There's a story in the Bible that speaks directly to moments like these. It's the story of a young man who was betrayed by his own family, sold as a slave, falsely accused, and forgotten. But through it all, he never gave up. His name was Joseph. And his journey is a powerful reminder that even when we don't understand the path, God is still writing a greater story. Joseph was the 11th son of Jacob and the first son of Rachel, the woman Jacob loved most. From the beginning, Joseph stood out. His father made him a richly ornamented robe, a symbol of honor, of distinction. But Joseph's favor with Jacob created tension in the family. His brothers watched with growing envy, their hearts poisoned by resentment. And then came the dreams. Joseph dreamed that one day his brothers' sheaves of grain bowed to his. Then he dreamed again. This time, the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed before him. When he shared these dreams, it was too much for his brothers. They hated him and began to plot. One day, Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers in the fields near Shechem. When they saw him coming from a distance, wearing his colorful robe, they conspired. "Here comes the dreamer," they said. "Let's kill him." Reuben, the eldest, pleaded for his life, convincing them to throw Joseph into a cistern instead, planning to rescue him later. But while Reuben was away, the brothers saw a caravan of Ishmaelite traders passing by. For 20 shekels of silver, they sold their brother. Joseph was taken in chains to Egypt. His brothers dipped his robe in goat's blood and showed it to Jacob. Believing Joseph was dead, the old man wept bitterly. In Egypt, Joseph was sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard. But even in slavery, the Lord was with Joseph. He worked diligently, and Potiphar quickly placed him in charge of his entire household. Joseph prospered until temptation knocked. Potiphar's wife tried to seduce him day after day, but Joseph refused, saying, "How could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?" One day, when no one else was around, she grabbed his cloak, and Joseph ran. Humiliated, she screamed and accused him of assault. Potiphar was furious. Joseph, though innocent, was thrown into prison. Once again, Joseph was in a pit, but not without hope. The Lord was with him. Even in prison, Joseph found favor, and the warden put him in charge of the other prisoners. While there, 2 men, Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker, were thrown into prison. One night, both had troubling dreams. Joseph interpreted them. The cupbearer would be restored, the baker would be executed. Joseph's words came true, but the cupbearer forgot him. 2 long years passed. Still, Joseph waited faithfully. Then, one night, Pharaoh had disturbing dreams. In one, 7 fat cows were eaten by 7 thin ones. In another, plump heads of grain were devoured by withered ones. No one could explain them. That's when the cupbearer remembered the Hebrew prisoner. Joseph was brought before Pharaoh. He stood in humility and said, "I cannot do it, but God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires." Joseph interpreted the dreams. 7 years of abundance would be followed by 7 years of famine. He advised Pharaoh to store grain during the good years to survive the bad. Impressed, Pharaoh made Joseph second in command over all Egypt, from prisoner to prince. The years of abundance passed, and famine came, not just to Egypt, but across the whole region. In Canaan, Joseph's brothers came to buy grain. They bowed before him, just as in his dream. But they didn't recognize him. Joseph tested them to see if their hearts had changed. He accused them of being spies, held one brother, and demanded they return with the youngest, Benjamin. When they came again with Benjamin, Joseph could no longer contain his emotions. He wept loudly and said, I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? His brothers were terrified, but Joseph embraced them. He forgave them. Do not be afraid, he said. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. Joseph's life is not just a story of suffering. It's a story of purpose. Betrayed, enslaved, imprisoned, and yet never abandoned. Joseph shows us what it means to trust God's timing, to keep faith in the pit, to rise in forgiveness, not revenge. He teaches us that even when others plan to harm us, God can turn it into a blessing, and that sometimes the very pain we endure becomes the path to our purpose. So when life doesn't make sense, when you feel forgotten or betrayed, remember Joseph. Remember the boy in the pit who became the prince of Egypt. And hold on to this truth. The Lord was with Joseph, and he is with you too.